and good morning, and welcome to the VSA Couple of 5 Minute Morning Miner on Tuesday, the 20th of January. All sorts of geopolitical issues going on around Greenland at the moment. One thing I would just say for this morning miner, and I hope you'll agree with me, Paul, is that they talk about going mining in Greenland. And yes, of course, there are minerals in Greenland, but economically, they will be so difficult to recover because of the distances, the snow cap, etc. That really, this is not about minerals at all, in my view, on Greenland. It is purely about America and defense and all that sort of thing. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I would. I think I would say that's pretty accurate. And the other thing is with the geopolitical news on Trump's statement out to the UK today, it's definitely had the gold market moving, hasn't it?
Yeah, gold price this morning at 4,723. We not long till we breach the 5,000 mark, which really will be something quite extraordinary. I noticed that uranium's crept up another dollar. It seems to go up $1 a day at the moment, currently at $86. Tungsten has broken through again, APT at 1,246. Talking to a tungsten trader yesterday, and there aren't that many tungsten traders. So this guy, if he says what he's saying, is probably correct. And he says, Andrew, I hate to say it, but it could actually still go higher. The reason being that there is just basically a fundamental shortage in the market. What he says is that the market will be short about 15 to 20,000 metric tons in a 120,000 metric ton market. In other words, this squeeze could just keep going. Now, longer term, and I'm talking here like sort of 2 years, he does think it will come back down to much more normalized levels. It'll be a classic, what he describes as tungsten cycle. And we've had this, I think, 3 times before with the Chinese. And then when obviously it comes down, you've still got plenty of time before it does, but you need to be in the right stocks. But don't worry, you can keep riding the wave as we go for now. Also, notice that Peel Hunt have upgraded quite significantly their target price on Camel. And so we're seeing a little bit of movement in Camel this morning. Was at 206, now just drifted back to 204. So it's not really quite getting the move on that we'd like, but there we go. We'll watch this space. News this morning is a little bit itsy bitsy, isn't it, Paul? And not much in the UK, but what do you want to tell us?
Well, the interesting thing is the interest in this Bharat coal IPO that came out in India. This was a spin out from Coal India of one of the top coking coal producers in the world, and came out with a 96% market debut an increase on the open. So it values the stock at just shy of 200 billion rupees, or just over $2 billion US. So there is life in the coal business as well in this kind of a marketplace at the moment.
I think coal stocks actually at the moment look remarkably cheap. Um, Quite difficult to play. There's Thungela, and if you were down in South Africa, you'd probably play Exaro, but not an easy place to play in the stock market. But yeah, coal does look pretty cheap. It's not out. Coal isn't all finished. Let's put it that way. Anyway, yep. Carry on, Paul.
Yeah, we also had the update on the NAV for the investment group, a London quoted mineral and financial. Its NAV now at 15 million sterling, which was up 31% on a year on year basis. Net asset value per share comes out just shy of 38p, which is just under a 30% year on year gain. And their gross profit on the quarter, it was £1.5 million. So that all looking very positive of their investments taking advantage of the commodity market to boom underway at this time as well.
We have actually had news, a trading update out of Capital Limited, haven't we? The drilling company.
Yes, that's right. The drilling company, those numbers, I would say a little bit disappointing to me. The numbers came back on a revenue basis for the full year group at 345.8 million US, which was slightly down at 0.6%, but it did reach the upper end of its revised guidance of 335 to 350 million, which they had changed in the beginning of the or earlier in the past year. Fourth quarter group revenue was also down at 1.3%, but it was a 9% increase on a year basis for the quarter. and the rig count had increased one from by 3 rigs as of September 30th, but rig utilization, in other words, how long they stay busy on an operating basis, had fallen by 2 basis points. So it's a pretty steady set of numbers there, but I would have hoped that the fourth quarter numbers would have been even stronger still.
Yeah. Okay. What else you got, Paul?
Also, to say that one of the gold tiddlers I follow, Pelangio Exploration, they have announced that because the vendor had failed to acquire the required forest entry permit on the Nkasuo property in Ghana, that joint venture deal or that acquisition option is now terminated, where Pelangio was going to acquire up to 83% of that property. Now, that particular property was really wanted by Pelangio for the extension that it represents to their Manfo currently drilled mineralization. So I would say it's a bit of a disappointment here. Pelangio still retains 27% interest in the resources at Manfo, which are about 800,000 ounces at this point. And they do have a new 6,850-meter drill program now underway. Pelangio does have a first right of refusal if the vendor does find a buyer at some point on Nkasuo at this point in time, but it is a discouragement, I would say, as to what their potential exploration upside might be this year, because they had promoted it rather heavily here in London in the last quarter.
All right, and then finally, maybe it's worth commenting. Luca Mining actually had full year production guidance yesterday after we'd all gone home out in Vancouver. Production guidance is all very much in line, but their cash position has improved dramatically, actually up to $25.5 million, and their debt is down $10.1 million. So they're clearly doing very well. It was one of the 4 mining companies, of course, I went and visited last August when I was out in Mexico. They're not just that, they actually have a lot of lead and zinc, a little bit of copper as well at their Campo Morado, and gold and silver in a way as a byproduct. But as they're slowly doing other things, the gold and silver, and as the price goes up, the gold and silver is becoming more and more valuable. But it looks like things are going very well for Luca Mining, and the stock was, again, like all of these Mexican gold and silver miners, they've all had a good start to the year, should we say. That'll do. We'll be back in tomorrow. Thanks, Paul.
Very good. See you then.
This podcast has been produced and edited by VSA Capital. It is intended for information purposes and not as investment advice. The information is intended for recipients who understand the risks associated with equity investments in smaller companies. Please do your own research and do not rely on a single source when making an investment decision. VSA Capital may derive fees from this content and seeks to do business with the companies mentioned.